Happy New Year. This is my first episode of 2025, so hope you had a lovely Christmas, holiday, New Year, whatever you've been doing. And welcome to another episode of A Witch Lives There. I'm your host, Izzy Naylor. I'm a singer-songwriter, but I'm really interested in witches, folklore, the occult, spooky things, etc., etc. So I'm recording this on the 7th of January. It'll be uploaded to the world on the 8th of January, so my timekeeping is not great. Should I record and schedule beforehand? Yes. Have I done? No. This is just where we are. Anyway, so when this episode is uploaded, New Year's Day was a week ago. We often think of the start of the new year as a time for change. It's a time for development. It's kicking bad habits and starting new hobbies. We've heard of different New Year's Eve traditions, like eating 12 grapes under the table on the countdown to midnight, and this apparently will bring luck for each month of the year. And then there's millions of people who make New Year's resolutions, some of which they only stick to about 3 weeks. I'm, of course, not speaking from personal experience. I definitely did not buy a cello last year that I played once, decided, hey, I know how to play the cello, and then never touched again. But of course, I'm not speaking from personal experience, so hypothetical situation. But many of us use the new year as a fresh start. We use it as a way to think of what we want for the future. We imagine what our ideal lives could be. And sometimes we set intentions and manifest what we want from the year to come. Today we're talking about manifestation. It's not only a witchy practice, but it is aligned with some rituals and witchy beliefs. Manifestation is sometimes viewed as this modern way to hope for your personal future. In a way, wish for what you want. It's like a prayer to the universe instead of a god. This sort of way of thinking of manifestation as this modern practice is probably largely due to the TikTok trends, especially during the pandemic. Like, I'm sure if you're on TikTok, you've heard the soundbite of "I don't chase, I attract." But manifestation isn't just influencers trying to make you believe that they somehow got this 6-figure salary and an expensive apartment simply by asking the universe nicely. And it's not just a spiritual practice done by woo-woo hippies and crystal girlies like me either. We can actually trace back this modern-day manifestation practice to ancient Greece, ancient Egypt, and Hinduism with the law of attraction. Ancient Egyptians believed that thoughts and intentions could influence one's fate and the world around them. They believed the power of the mind and intention was closely tied to religious and mystical beliefs. However, the ancient Greeks believed that true manifestation and that creative power were reserved only for gods, not humans. But the law of attraction was still part of ancient Greek discussion, with philosophers like Plato and Pythagoras exploring the idea that reality could be shaped by the mind. Like attracts like. Law of attraction and like attracts like is sort of a widely accepted version of manifestation, where the energy of your thoughts manifest in your experiences. So if you have positive thoughts, then you will have positive experiences, and the same with negative. I mean, like, it makes sense. I'm sure you've had one of those days where you're kind of in a bad mood already, and then bad things just keep happening. It's like one thing after another. Of course, that's not to say that bad things can't happen when you're feeling positive or vice versa, but it is an interesting theory that's clearly been a topic of conversation for centuries. The law of attraction can also be traced back to Hinduism, where some say it originated. The Sanskrit word manifest means to show, which is where we get the word manifestation. And there are many forms of manifestation and practices in Hinduism. There are mantras and spiritual meditations where practitioners will explore their coexistence with the universe. Modern manifestation actually has roots in an ancient Hindu state called Yoga Nidra, but this is associated with the god Vishnu. In one text, Yoga Nidra is described as a deep sleep under the spell of spiritual meditation, while in another text there is a goddess named Yoga Nidra, and she is a manifestation of sleep itself. In a simplified explanation, this is basically a state of consciousness between waking and sleeping completely meditative, where the person practicing would envision a result while being aware of the power that they're putting into the universe. Basically, we can't have modern manifestation practices without the historical practices found in Hinduism, and we can't really have an understanding of it either without the discussions around the law of attraction. The 19th century brought the New Thought movement, which gained momentum in the US. It was really a resurgence in the law of attraction and emphasized the power of positive thinking, spirituality, and the mind's influence on health and prosperity. A key figure during this time was Phineas Pankhurst Quimby, born 16th of February 1802. He was a folk healer, mentalist, and mesmerist. He believed in the connection between thoughts and well-being, laying the groundwork for the idea that the mind could heal the body and create positive outcomes. According to Phineas, illness is just a matter of the mind and is a result of the patient's mistaken beliefs. He wasn't necessarily religious, but he did believe that he'd rediscovered the healing methods of Jesus. Some of these beliefs have continued to today, but we do have more medical advancements and know that some illnesses really do need medicine and not just good vibes. Then, in the mid-20th century, the New Age movement began, and this era is kind of a huge topic on its own, but with it came a resurgence of belief in the law of attraction. New Age ideas combined elements of Eastern spirituality, metaphysics, and alternative healing practices, and there was a rise in the popularity of positive thinking and visualization techniques. Then, in 2006, the law of attraction gained more attention with the release of the documentary film and subsequent book of the same name, The Secret, by Rhonda Byrne. The Secret presents its 3 steps of the manifestation practice as 1. Ask, 2. Believe, and 3. Receive. It brings forth the idea of thinking your way to what you want. And that brings us to today. Manifestation is pretty widespread, and it's just kind of part of how young people talk about the things that they want. Not saying that I'm a young person because I am 29, but I am on social media. I've probably said, ooh, manifesting that for you too many times to count. I mean, in a way, it's probably lost a bit of its meaning, but it's kind of the secular version of people saying, praying for you. Because we all know those strangers online are not praying for those other strangers online. It's really just another way of sending good vibes to someone or telling someone you care about their happiness in a sort of detached way. Although, is saying manifesting that for you in its own way attributing to manifesting something for someone? Like, is just saying that gonna do anything? Like, is just saying that adding power to this thought? I don't really know. Right now, there are over 83.3 million posts about manifesting on TikTok. These videos range from ambient soundscapes that will apparently give you good luck if you share, like, and comment on the video, to people showing videos or images of something they want and saying, manifesting this, to actual spiritual guidance from people who have maybe studied the act and practice of manifestation. But manifestation and the law of attraction have become hugely popular, and maybe it's just a placebo effect of being actively positive, or maybe manifestation actually causes real life change. Is it still a proven idea that the law of attraction works if it's just a placebo effect? Because is that still real? I'm not a philosopher. My brother is a philosopher in Oxford, so I don't want to embarrass myself by bringing up philosophical questions, but it's an interesting thing to think on. So, how do you manifest something? Really, all you have to do to manifest your ideal life is like, follow, and comment, and also share with at least 3 friends, and you'll see changes within 3 to 15 months. Obviously that was a joke, but also if you want to do those things, please do. The Secret's 3 steps to manifestation that I mentioned before give an outline to the practice of modern manifestation. Number 1, act. Simply make a decision. Think of your desire and make it a decision that that is what will happen. 2, believe. The secret states that in order to manifest anything you want, first you must truly believe that it is possible for you to receive. You need to overcome doubts that you're not worthy of receiving what you've asked for, otherwise the manifestation is cancelled. The Secret also recommends using affirmations and practicing visualization to increase your belief and sort of combat the doubts. 3. Receive. The final step to manifestation is simply to feel so good you can receive. Basically, feel the feelings of satisfaction that you would feel once your desire is actually manifested. Then you'll be matching the frequency of your desire, becoming a magnet to it. So that's a pretty good guideline, but manifestation isn't about passively turning your dreams into reality. It's not a way to magically gain money, love, or any other desires without having to actually do anything. Yes, positive thinking probably does lead to positive outcomes. It's a similar teaching to treat others how you'd want to be treated, or biblically love thy neighbor. But just because I politely say, oh, I'm sorry, there's actually a queue to the woman who pushed in front of me at the pharmacy, it doesn't mean she's going to be nice in return. In fact, she'll probably roll her eyes and say, yeah, I know, I'm just looking for a pen, and then proceed to try and get her prescription before me, even though I've been waiting patiently for 10 minutes, for example. So it's not just be nice to people and they will automatically be nice to you back, although that would be nice. To truly manifest something into reality, you have to take real-life actions towards the thing that you want. For instance, if your intention is to meet the love of your life, then first you must picture the person of your dreams. What are their qualities that matter to you? Then, in addition to setting your intention that this is the type of person you want to be with, take actions yourself to bring you closer to them. But obviously, that's not to say if you want to date a specific person, you should stalk them. Definitely do not stalk people. That's not manifestation. That's actually insane and also criminal. But if your intention is to be with a generous person, then perhaps there are ways you can be more generous yourself. On setting intentions, professional witch Sarah Potter said in an interview with Refinery29, the more specific we can be, the easier it is to make something happen. So, in other words, form a specific goal and outcome and be very clear with your intention. In this article, Sarah also talks about being open to the possibility that what you're manifesting is not going to come to fruition in the form that you thought it might. So while the intention may be specific and the idea in your head may be of one thing, sometimes the universe gives us something else. That dream job that you've been manifesting might actually come later or at a time you don't expect. Like, you can't just bypass the value of knowledge and paid experience, unless of course you're a nepo baby, and then you can go right to the top. Or maybe the person that you thought you wanted to be with turns out to not really work out. But hey, at least now you know. And if it's a really bad breakup, you can always manifest becoming a nun. We all made that joke when we were teenagers, didn't we? That wasn't just me. When my 13-year-old relationship that lasted about a month didn't work and I was like, I'm just going to become a nun. I didn't, but I digress. There are various spiritual, pagan, or witchy rituals to do alongside manifestation. A technique I've used and I've seen other people recommend using is to write your desire or wish onto a bay leaf and then burn it. Or some say that if your intention is related to money, then you should keep the bay leaf in your wallet. And I've also done a manifestation practice where you write a letter to a friend or a family member and talk about the life you want in a year's time, for example, but you write it as if you're living it now. And you don't send the letter, you put it somewhere safe, or I've seen people put crystals on it to sort of boost the manifestation, I guess. But you can write things like, "Dear Mum and Dad, I'm so grateful to be financially stable," or like, "I'm enjoying living with the love of my life," whatever it is that you're wanting to manifest. It's kind of similar to that law of attraction concept in The Secret of feeling the satisfaction of your goal while you're manifesting it. I actually have no idea where I've put that letter because I've moved twice since I wrote it, but it was a few years ago. So I like to think that I've manifested my life now and I'm living how I wanted to. And there are, of course, loads of other manifestation techniques using spices. So sage is often used for cleansing spaces and setting good intentions, and cinnamon can also be used with carrier oil and smeared on candles or objects that represent your desires. You can also hold cinnamon powder in your hand while you visualize your intention or desire and affirm that you will achieve it. And then you sprinkle that powder around the house. And then the next day you collect the powder and discard it in the garden. I've heard similar things with salt, but salt is already part of superstitions. Like if you spill salt, you throw it over your shoulder. Basically, spices, salt, all these things can be useful in manifesting. It's all about setting your intention and creating a sort of power. There's also plenty of rituals and practices that involve numbers. So writing down your intention 33 times for 3 days, which is the 333 method, or similarly the 777 method of writing down your intentions 7 times in the morning and 7 times at night over 7 days. Even vision boards, the question of where do you see yourself in 5 years, and New Year's resolution are manifestation techniques, but these are ones that are seen as less kooky than others that are perhaps more intentional rituals, but they can still be under the umbrella of manifestation and law of attraction. Really what I've seen in my research of manifestation is there's not one correct way to manifest. There's not one way that's going to ensure that everything happens. And while the history of it comes from Hinduism and other ancient civilizations, it's adapted to today's culture. I really do think that manifestation, the law of attraction, they are helpful ways to connect with yourself and the universe or whatever you believe is out there. And it's a way to decide and figure out what you really want in life. It kind of gives us this starting point to achieve our goals. If I think about what I want to achieve from this year and how to manifest that, a lot of it's like things that I can start doing. Like if I want to do more of the craft projects that I bought last year on a whim when I decided that I could make jewelry, if my goal is to actually use that product and try and make some jewelry, then I can do it. Like it's not just I'm going to manifest doing this, like I actually have to do it. Or I have a goal this year where I want to see like a really clear night sky and see the stars and like hopefully see a shooting star. Like I've never seen one. That's like a life goal of mine. But to do that, I can't really be in the city that I live in. Like I have to go somewhere else where there's less light pollution. And like, yeah, obviously there are things like, hey, I would like to earn more money, or I would like to be able to get money from different creative things I'm doing. But like that also can't just happen. Like I have to put the effort in. If I want to start making money from this podcast, I'm going to have to advertise it. I'm going to have to put money into it to get money out. And okay, people have viral videos or whatever where that suddenly helps them out. They kind of can achieve everything from that, but that's not really what I'm trying to manifest. All that to say, really, you've just got to put in the effort to achieve something, and that's still manifesting. Even if you're actually going out of your way to do something to achieve a goal, like you kind of have to be able to manifest that thing, if that makes sense. Like the manifestation isn't just magic. I mean, yeah, of course, there are things that are more out of my control if they involve other people, but I can still look inwards in myself and think, well, if I want this thing to happen, or like if I would like this friendship to flourish, then like I have to do things myself still. At the end of the day, manifestation is harmless. It's not hurting anybody. So if you want to start manifesting the life that you have always dreamed of, go ahead. I've given a few little techniques that you can use with your manifestation, but of course, I do recommend doing some research yourself and finding someone a little more knowledgeable on the topic. I'm like a baby witch, like I do things because I've heard other people say to do them, but it's fun. So that's basically a little brief insight into the history of manifestation and how you can probably do a little bit of it. As usual, if you have any topics you want me to discuss or little stories you want to tell, then you can email me at awitchlivestherepod@gmail.com. If you're listening on Spotify, Apple, Amazon or whatever, thank you for listening. You can also look at the video on YouTube. And if you're watching the YouTube video, please note I also have this on streaming services so you can listen on the go. I'll see you next week for another episode. This week wasn't necessarily Hex's Heresy and Haunts, which is what I thought I should do a tagline of, but now I'm not really sure because I kind of want to go into a lot of folklore type things. So I don't really have a tagline. I don't really think it's important. This is like, my 5th episode, so I feel like that will come anyway. But thank you for listening and or watching this podcast episode. I hope that everything you've planned for your 2025 goes ahead and it's a lovely positive year for you. I manifest you coming back next week. Bye.